Before this early morning's group meditation, let's explore the perils of Mandala meditation. We'll begin with definitions. Mandala can be translated as universe. A mandala offering is a symbolic offering of the universe. Either A, pure visualization, or B, an visualization or a visualization accompanied by props. Concise props consisting of a plate that one might pour grain on top of in a very specific geometric pattern while performing a concise chant, or an elaborate, so that's called a 7-point mandala offering, or there's a 32 or a 38-point mandala offering with many, many rings, and it's very, very elaborate and an even longer recitation. And this can be a combination of these can be used to collect 100,000 offerings. That can take months or years. What is the purpose of this magic? To take an action now, to say something now, to do both an action and an utterance now, to change our future, to get rid of bad. It promises to get rid of bad karma and increase good karma. If you have a specific wish you make while making the offering, it is said by some that that wish will be fulfilled. So it's just another form of ritualized magic, another form of using ritual to influence our future. There are two primary problems with this. Number one, it fuels our controlling tendencies. One need only read. Oh, good morning, James. One need only read the Tao Te Ching to understand that there are different types of yin and yang, and the type mentioned in the Tao Te Ching is what we would call philosophical yin and yang. And if you read, and the Tao Te Ching is a small book, you can read it every week. And after 10 or 50 or 100 weeks, you'll notice patterns. You'll notice that every time the author mentions both yang and yin, he urges his reader to forsake yang and choose yin. Why is that? Well, the same reason people talk about things being Buddha nature or not Buddha nature. Some things are helpful and some things are harmful. Rigidity is harmful. Flexibility is beneficial. Indulging our controlling tendencies is harmful. Choosing to be laid back can be beneficial. So when we invest time and energy to make something happen, we are indulging our controlling tendencies. And that is going to affect every area of your life. That could affect your circumstances, your body, especially your relationships, and the way your mind functions. Controlling tendencies fuel our petulance. Now, petulance may be cute in a cat or a toddler, but in a full-grown adult, it is at least unbecoming and at most a danger. But wait, there's more. In addition to indulging our controlling tendencies, offering a mandala for 30 minutes or 60 minutes, several times a day, every day for months or years, is a form of concentration. All the instructions talk about as you perform the actions and the visualizations and the recitations to engage both your concentration and your imagination, which are both direct and indirect concentration. But what could be the problem with that? Concentration feeds our rigidity, which is antithetical to being flexible. We've all heard Aesop's fable of the oak and the reed, haven't we? Where a majestic oak was denigrating a reed, saying, "You are weak and beneath contempt. When the wind blows to the left, you bend to the left, but I resist it." And then Aesop would have us believe that the gods so tempted because the gods hate hubris, they created a mighty wind, and the oak resisted it, and the reed bent, and the wind grew stronger, and the oak resisted it, and the reed bent further, and the oak resisted it even. The wind grew stronger, the oak resisted it even more, and the reed bent further, and the wind grew stronger yet still, and with a sickening crunch, the oak broke and tipped over. Its point having been made, the gods of the winds settled down. And as the oak lay on his side, cut off from his roots and dying, he gazed upon the reed to see it return to its erect position. The ancients understand what many people have forgotten, that rigidity is toxic, it is unsustainable, it is destructive. If we want to be peaceful, if we want to be loving, if we want to be truly joyful, flexibility is paramount. Which is why at the beginning of every meditation session, I remind all the participants that we have not evolved, that our sympathetic nervous system has not evolved to thrive on active concentration. In about a minute, we will start our formal practice. But first, second thought, let's continue with this conversation. This is important stuff. We don't need to do ritual magic. The very nature of Dzogchen, as inferred by its founder, Gaurab Dorje, is that whatever dreadful things we need to avoid spontaneously come to mind as we breathe in. Whatever glorious things we require or could enjoy spontaneously come to mind as we breathe in. Whatever karmic release we require is accomplished when we relax into our exhalation. Whatever release of the obstacles between us and what we desire is required is exercised when we relax into our exhalation. Simply by practicing awareness and acquiescence in harmony with our inhalation and exhalation, thanks to the inner workings of our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, our needs can be met effortlessly in the most wonderful way. Passively, vulnerably, viscerally, and spontaneously, randomly. This is the easiest path. This is the most effective path. This is the most besmirched and misunderstood path. That which was promised to be egalitarian 300 years after the death of the Buddha is now hidden by elitists who claim it's only for special people. We don't need ritual. We don't need concentration. We don't need to be controlling and rigid. It's safe, and not only safe, but advantageous instead to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And now, 75 seconds. Bear with me. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. If you love Star Wars and wish to meditate as transformatively as Rey on Octo under the guidance of Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. A bit of good news. At any point during this early morning meditation, you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. If you're watching on a laptop or a desktop, that'll be on the right. If you're watching on a smartphone held vertically, that'll be on the bottom. If you're watching on a smartphone held horizontally, you'll have to go vertical. Sorry, kids, I don't make the rules. Whoops. Captain Klutz, at your service. Yes, together as a team, let us chant the Sunday morning excerpt of the vast expanse of Vajrasattva composed by Gaurab Dorje. Equal in all its manifestations, there is nothing to gradually arrange. All forms being one in reality, nothing needs to be dedicated in any direction. We may accumulate and arrange our various offerings, but since they occur naturally, they need no arranging or distribution. So, everything we perceive is an offering to real or imagined entities. Since everything is an offering, making an offering is an act of redundance. There is no need for it. So this is a playful way of saying, enough with the ritualism already. The true condition being intrinsically perfect, there is no need to make offerings. Pure from take two. Pure from its inception, the pristine continuum is already wisdom nectar. There is no need for our minds or senses to visualize or intend. So, what are we trying to accomplish by ritual? Are we trying to get something? Are we trying to get wisdom? It's as close as our next exhalation. Are we trying to get bliss? It's already here. All we got to do is use the inhalation and exhalation, which are already present, in a skillful way, in the manner that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. Are we trying to protect ourselves or acquire certain things? That mechanism, the ultimate mechanism for safety and acquisition, is already in place. All we need to do is use it vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Together, all phenomena take two. All phenomena are already arranged and consecrated by the mind's judgments. The spiritual power of clear seeing is the equipoise of contemplative stillness. So, we may beat ourselves up for being judgmental, for saying, but I dread doggy-doo and I desire chocolate. Therefore, I am dualistic and unworthy. Oh, boo-hoo. I am not going to win an Academy Award anytime soon. So, the very fact that we are already wired by evolution as a survival skill to recognize peril and to recognize pleasure and to know the difference between the two, at least viscerally, means that there is already an organizing principle. We don't have to work to make it happen. We can simply sit back and allow it to happen through the inner guru of our autonomic nervous system. Let's talk about clear seeing. Every time we breathe in, we can perceive. Every time we relax into our exhalation, that which we see could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. The union of perception and release is the ultimate quietude. Even an instant of this divine, take two, even an instant of this contemplation is divine union. The satisfaction of this union fulfills all spiritual commitments. Going through the 10 steps of various spiritual practices, one is in reality offering the state of union non-dually. So here's what's being said here. Members of patriarchy are controlling and elitist, and they want to frighten us. And so they tell us that there are rules, and if we don't follow those rules, we will burn eternally in hell. It's funny how patriarchy loves the idea of eternal damnation. It's found on many continents and in many religious systems who have never had interaction with each other. Yet patriarchy is really happy to chase people, frighten people with tales of hellfire and demons coming to torment them. But according to the founder of Dzogchen, the very practice of perceptive inhalation and relaxing exhalation fulfills all the vows. It fulfills the refuge vows of reliance and devotion. It fulfills the pratimoksha vows of non-violence. It fulfills the bodhisattva vows of love. It fulfills the tantric samaya also of devotion and emulation. Emulation, not in the ignition sense, but in the mimicry sense. To emulate to embrace the example, instructions, and students of one's teacher. So all these hundreds of rules are fulfilled simply by practicing the Ati Yoga of Prahevajra. All the ritual, all the bows, all the offerings, all the recitations, all the visualizations, all the confessions, all the abasements, at best, are an opportunity to exercise non-duality. At worst, they're a distraction, and they actually serve to hinder our highest spiritual practice. Okay, so let's tap button 9. In preparation for meditation, let us perform the rather concise recitations of bodhicitta and refuge to exercise the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm. Now, according to the root text, this is not a requirement, but I found that my students like the structure of beginning meditation and ending meditation with a short, loving chant. And I found this fulfills that need. Together. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. And now we come to meditation. Let's review the instructions. Mindfulness and meditation form a set. And as a set, they are known by many names, such as Proto-Zen, Zen, Shan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Mahasanti, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, and Trekcho. And I'm going to do the old switcheroo here to make it fall a bit more trippingly off the tongue. So we have two phases of breath, inhalation and exhalation. During inhalation, we automatically access our sympathetic, let's go over here. This might make it easier. During our inhalation, we automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which facilitates the perception of mindfulness, not active concentration, but perception, vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. Therefore, during each inhalation, it's perfectly appropriate to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun, this. During each exhalation, we automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is wired for both physical relaxation, whose synonym is ease, as well as mental release. Therefore, the key to mindfulness and meditation is just the silent and mental recitation of the demonstrative pronoun this and the verb ease in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Having said that, giddy up. Sturgeon's law dictates that 90% of everything, including meditation teachers, is crap. So it should come as little surprise that so many meditation teachers will instruct us to breathe only from our nostrils or only from our lower dantian, forgetting the fact that we breathe with our lungs, and our lungs are located in our rib cage. Therefore, chest breathing is not only where it's at physiologically, but it is that which is endorsed by the root text of Dzogchen. The smaller white figure reminds us to feel or perceive the play of mind. The larger blue figure reminds us to relax into mind's non-graspable nature in correlation with our inhalation and our exhalation. So as we breathe in, we feel the play of mind, such as mind's perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. During our exhalation, we relax into mind's non-graspability. A mind can be as non-graspable as the infinite azure sky and a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, remains intangible to the grasp. As we sit vulnerably in meditation, we will notice all sorts of things, sometimes neutral things, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. Sometimes we'll notice the external or the internal, the physical or the mental, the pleasurable or the painful, the interesting or the boring, the glorious or the grotesque. And it can be tempting when we experience a grotesque emotion or memory or confabulation or fantasy to shove it away or justify, minimize, or rationalize it, but to just be vulnerable and notice it with the word this and relax with the verb ease can help us to process it on a deep, deep level. We do not grow defensive when a bush tit flies overhead. We do not grow proud when a hawk flies overhead. It's just something that happens. The same thing with grotesqueries and with glories. Mm, mm. I check for questions approximately every 7 to 9 minutes. So when you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let us seal this morning's meditation with 2 concise chants, beginning with kind ethics. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. And now we conclude with the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from misery. May everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you can type something in the chat window. If you feel that I've earned it, you can type something in the chat window. You could give this a live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 2.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's mid-morning group meditation practice, and hopefully I'll have better coordination with the display then. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.